up, guys? Welcome back to the Chop podcast. It is our third episode, and today we're going to talk a little bit about some crawfish.
Yeah, buddy, some bald crawfish. It's that time in Louisiana right now, down here in the South. Time to
And it's starting to get perfect weather for some
pinch some
crawfish.
tails and suck some heads, and
I'm okay with that. That's something I can get behind. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, I know.
So, how was your weekend though?
It was good, man. I was in Napa. Napa was an amazing trip. Yeah, it was my first time there. Obviously, they got tons and tons of great wine. I feel pickled, after I left, but well worth it. So I got some nice bottles of wines coming home, but I'll share some with you. No worries.
That's good. Went anywhere to eat?
Oh yeah. So Thomas Keller. I don't know if you know who this dude is. I mean, yeah, you do. You're a chef,
right?
Michelin star chef. This dude's one of the best, and he's got a couple restaurants out there. He's got French Laundry and he's got Ad Hoc, and I couldn't go to French Laundry. I guess I wasn't cool enough or something. But I ended up at Ad Hoc, and they do like a family style portion of dinner, and holy cow, was it amazing.
It looked incredible.
Some of the best probably the best fried chicken I've ever had.
What? In Napa?
Yeah, all the way in Napa, for real. I mean, the crunch was unbelievable. I love Popeyes, don't get me wrong. And God rest, my grandma's fried chicken is amazing as well. Right. But this stuff that Thomas Keller put out, this fried chicken over there at Ad Hoc, unbelievable. Wow. So
it looked incredible.
Yeah, it was really good. So what about you? What happened with you over the weekend?
So I got an opportunity to go to the Mosquito Supper Club, which if you haven't heard of, guys, it's a restaurant here uptown. It's a tasting menu only. So you pay one price, sit down, shut up, and get ready to eat.
Sometimes that's the best. I don't even want to look at a menu usually. Right. Just
like I said last week, it keeps
me.
My wife from not being like, can we split this and that? No, we get what we get and sit down and eat it. But it was phenomenal.
She's gonna beat you up for that one.
She is. It is our happy anniversary, Christina, 4 years. But we had some incredible food. The oysters were a little off, but other than that, we had some crab claws, marinated crab claws, and some smoked red snapper. And it was unbelievable. Smoked red snapper dip, and then this crab bisque. It's just incredible.
Is that kind of like the smoked salmon dip over at Pesh?
Yeah, very similar.
With the red snapper instead.
Yeah, and it was really, really good. And then they had this she crab bisque, so female crab bisque, and it was unbelievable. Along with then they gave us red snapper again, a seared red snapper for an entree. So
love that. I saw your pictures. They looks amazing. I want to try it out, so I have to make a trip one day.
It was phenomenal. So
cool.
All right, guys. Well, we have some special guests with us.
Yeah.
Today we're very, very excited to announce that Boil Boss boys are here. We got Robert and Miles. How you doing today, guys?
Doing pretty good. Doing great. Happy to be here.
Perfect. We're happy to have y'all. So
yeah, if you don't know, the Boil Boss is a product manufactured here, right? And it's in New Orleans, created here in New Orleans. Business is owned here in New Orleans by some local guys. And it's a crawfish boiling apparatus that really
makes your boil experience better.
Yeah, it makes a better boil experience. So if you guys don't mind, share if y'all want to tell us a little bit about Boil Boss and how it started and where you guys are at now, and of course where people can pick them up at.
Yeah, Robert, you want to? Yeah, so I'm Robert, but I went to University of Mississippi, Ole Miss.
Okay.
Was trying to
Tigers.
Trying to come up with something to do post-graduation that would allow me not to be stuck in a 9-to-5.
I think we all want that.
Yeah. And so my dad and I, we sort of, my brother too, catalog our ideas, try and go through. We're always inventing things, trying to come up with it, watching Shark Tank, all that stuff.
Love that.
It's such a great show.
Yeah. So you have like just a little workshop y'all sit in and just like pound away and create things.
That's my mom's kitchen table pretty much.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Hey, that's where all great things are created. Right. I can't lie about that one.
Yep. And so as we were, I was like 2-3 months graduating, we were going through them, and this one popped up. We prototyped it, and it seemed less daunting. Started making some more prototypes and decided to go for it. So designed the Boil Boss, the original product, which is basically the hula hoop that cools the crawfish pot.
Yeah, tell us how that thing works.
Yeah, so if you can imagine a hula hoop, for lack of better description, with holes on the inside of it,
right,
that hooks onto your crawfish pot and sprays the outside of the pot with water.
Kind of like a sprinkler?
Pretty much, right?
Okay.
And so the principle there is once you're done cooking them and you're ready to soak, you got to get the temperature down really fast, right? Stop them from cooking.
Right.
A lot of guys dump ice in the pot. When you add ice, you're adding fresh water, it's diluting all the seasoning.
Right.
You got a second batch coming up. You're going to have to add seasoning and compensate.
Right.
Dilutes. Now your recipe from batch to batch is all messed up. So it's just tough to keep it consistent. So by spraying the outside of the pot, we're using the surface area of the stainless or the aluminum to pull the heat out without diluting.
Right.
Okay.
And it ends up being a lot faster. So, that 30-minute, 40-minute soak, after 3-4 minutes of the boil boss, you're down to 150. The bugs aren't cooking anymore. You can let them sit in the water, take on the seasoning that you like, without the risk of them overcooking or diluting. So in a nutshell, that's the product. Right?
I have one. I used one before, and I use it every time I boil now. So it works incredibly well.
Yeah,
I commend you guys on that. That's it.
I appreciate it.
It's a good gadget.
Yeah, I got it. I think fairly early on in y'all's company. I purchased one, and I remember the first time I pulled it out in front of my dad and my grandpa, and they were like, "What? You're telling me I don't have to use the hose anymore to circle around the pot?" I'm like, "No, you just clip this thing on, and it's fantastic." I still to this day I use it every boil. I think I used it 2 weeks ago. And it's such a great product. Y'all have a good one on your hands.
Well, I thought you were going to tell me when you pulled it out, you got made fun of.
Oh no. I mean, they definitely,
it goes either way.
Yeah. They definitely gave me some looks,
It goes a little against the tradition that, you have with boiling crawfish, I guess, but
that's the awesome part about it is when you pull it out, it makes an impression.
It does.
So people ask questions.
Yeah, it's a conversation piece for sure.
Definitely.
When you think about boiling crawfish, right? Everybody stands around the pot and either just watches you in silence or critiques or criticizes what you're doing and how they do it.
Everyone's got the best way.
Yeah, you're not boiling crawfish unless someone's critiquing you.
Oh, yeah, right. It's weird if no one's there to watch you. Right.
So no, we appreciate you because you were an early adopter, right? You were one of those.
Oh, I was bought. As soon as I tried it, I'm like, I'm done. I'm sold. I'll never do it again without this.
Awesome.
So that's been our journey, is getting people to have that first experience, because once they try it and they see the crawfish sink that fast and they see how much juice they take on, there's no going back to the old method.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
How's it going now? They're doing pretty well.
Yeah, so we're going in. This is our 4th crawfish season.
Okay.
So 2017 is when the company was founded, and we're doing great. In a weird way, COVID's sort of helped because there's. I don't really like this. I wish we had these things going on, but all the school cook-offs, all those things that are happening or used to happen aren't going on. And so people are boiling in the backyard.
Yeah. I think with COVID, people just kind of switched to trying to learn new hobbies too.
Right. Yeah.
So everyone now they get on YouTube and how to boil crawfish, and they do it in the backyard. And so,
yeah, I feel like
helped.
I feel like COVID's like grown a lot of cooks or home cooks at least.
And this is something like you said before, everyone's around you, right? So like this is the time everyone's kind of been kept up in their house, either working from home now. So this is something they can do outside, still with the family, still enjoy themselves.
Yeah. And on a macro level, I think crawfish is just becoming way more accessible and interesting for people. So like I'm equating it to backyard barbecuers, those guys that have the Traegers and the green eggs and are learning that hobby. Crawfish are starting to show up on YouTube channels, and they want to learn those because it's one of those things you could add on to do with your friends and family.
Absolutely.
Now, could you use this if you were boiling crabs and shrimp as well?
Honestly, it's more important for shrimp and crabs just because they're more sensitive to overcooking. I mean, you've had overcooked shrimp before.
Yeah, it's the worst.
You ruin them.
We talk about crawfish with it right now, but I mean, it's just what we're used to here in South Louisiana. But I guess shrimp and crab would be great with that thing.
Yeah. 100%. The thing about crawfish, though, is it like invokes a religious sort of experience with people. You don't see too many shrimp boils with 40 pounds of shrimp being dumped on a table.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. I guess
you eat 6 of them and you're full. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
You eat 10 pounds of crawfish and want 10 more.
Absolutely.
Very true.
Just going on how y'all have grown. If I'm not mistaken, Jack has a cousin in California who's a chef. I'm pretty sure Craig has one.
Yeah, I think y'all. Maybe y'all
so
is that
your cousin?
So we have the same last name.
New Orleans cousin.
Yeah, it's like my,
I got
you know
you.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got you.
It's just
Your
easier
brother.
to say we're cousins instead of
Explain the whole
whatever.
connection.
But I mean,
Yeah.
it's
That's my boy home from
pretty
home.
impressive. Yeah. I mean, you home a boy living in California, and he's using a boil boss every crawfish
I've
season.
seen he was in Newport Beach. You know, my dad, and when he was like in his 20s, spent some time out there. And I was like, he's boiling crawfish in Newport Beach. I'm like, that's crazy. We got to get him a boil boss.
Oh, yeah.
And
I
so
tell you
the
what,
sentiment-
I have 3 cousins. It's actually my wife's cousins that live in Newport Beach. And like every year they have like a giant Louisiana crawfish bowl during crawfish season. Like there's so many, New Orleans implants over there that it just
it's
crawfish they're shipping crawfish
they're
over
farming them there too now.
We used to
Yeah.
we used to sponsor a big one in Las Vegas. We still do one in Dallas too. It's unbelievable just the how much people want boiled crawfish.
I think once you have them here, it's just like, oh God, I got to figure out how to do this everywhere.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know?
That's exactly
but with
right.
that, right, it's daunting for somebody to pick up boiling crawfish on their own because you're going to be feeding a lot of people. You don't want them to taste bad. So the heat's on you to do a good job.
Pressure is on.
And so, I mean, you'd be shocked at some of the emails we get from customers and just people on the internet trying to, like the level of detail and questions they ask.
Just step by
outrageous.
They'll just give us this step-by-step walkthrough. Okay, so after this, I have to do this, and it just goes on and on and on. Yeah,
man. Well, I mean, obviously the boil boss helps to make that cooking down. I mean, cooling down process easier for the chef. What else do y'all guys got that helps the experience a little easier?
Yeah. So with the boil boss, it prompted people to start paying attention to temperature. Until we'd come out with the boil boss, you had guys that were talking about temperature when they talked about crawfish, but for the most part, temperature wasn't in the vocabulary of the crawfish boiler. It was all just time.
Exactly.
And just winging it for more or
less.
less.
I never used a thermometer.
Never.
Right. But what we started to notice, people using the boil boss to get in touch and say, hey, this thing worked way faster than we thought. And we ended up eating cold crawfish.
Right.
So when you put the boil boss on, we tell you when it's spraying, let it spray the outside of the pot. Once you're done cooking, you do your normal process, but keep an eye on it. Start 3 to 5 minutes, then turn it off. If you go longer, you're going to end up with cold crawfish.
That's no good.
No. And so who's got a thermometer to crawfish boil? Nobody.
Yeah.
So that's when we came up with the idea to build the thermometer into the paddle. It's, you got to be stirring when you're using the boil boss. You got to be monitoring the temperature.
Right.
So it just made sense.
Absolutely. I think this product is brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, it's once you find that degree, like it seems you guys have, like, okay, this is where it should be. This is where you need to stop it. Like, the ring itself is brilliant, right? We all know that works. It's incredible, but this makes it even better, right? It makes it more precise.
Ties it all together.
Yeah. It's full circle,
So this is for the listeners, this is a paddle that you would normally stir your crawfish with. And then it has a thermometer that runs the length of the paddle, and the reader is at the top of the handle.
Right. And there's hold on one second. There's like a gauge at the end of it, and it shows you, they've got it color coded red, orange, and green. It kind of shows you that soak degree, which looks like 145 to 160.
Yeah, we gave a little bit of a range there because some people still want to soak different lengths of time.
Right.
So let's say you've got a longer soak. If you go all the way to 150 and you soak for an additional 40 minutes,
right,
the temperature's still going to drop a little bit on its own.
Yeah.
So that range is a little bit of leeway, but like you noticed, it's colored in green.
Right.
So when your thermometer needle gets in that green
Get to
zone,
that one, turn it off.
you're in the range of not ruining them,
right,
overcooking,
right,
and still being warm by the time it doesn't get too cold.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was actually, that took us 7-8 months to develop. It was pretty tricky to come up with a way to manufacture it and ensure that it wasn't going to warp all in the water. Right. A lot of challenges, but it's helped a lot.
That's awesome. That's an awesome looking product, though.
It does. Looks pretty badass.
So try to go for.
All right. So one thing we did this week is we polled our followers, both on our personal accounts and our Chop account, of some of the either best things or oddest things you've ever put into a crawfish boil. We got a lot of answers that said garlic and onions, and to me that's like the everyday standard, right? Like I don't think of that when I think of odd things that I put into a crawfish boil.
That's everyday items,
right? Yeah, to me it's like lemons, orange, celery, onions, and garlic.
Necessity.
That is almost as good as the crawfish.
And the potatoes.
Right? Like,
Don't forget
the potatoes. Like that's things that have to go in. Like it's not a crawfish bowl if you don't do and sausage, right?
Yeah.
But what are some things you guys have done, experimented with? Is there anything that like?
Well, we had left out the sausage last time we boiled on
our
accident.
first boil Saturday.
That's the worst.
That was the worst.
As long as you don't throw in hot dogs. I've seen that before.
I know,
that's terrible.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe they're good. I don't know.
We keep it pretty basic, and I'd say it was up until like a year and a half, 2 years ago, where we really nailed down our recipe.
Okay.
But yeah, you named it, right? So it's all about the stock, in my opinion, in the beginning.
Right.
So
yeah, like that's what most people don't realize. Like you're making a stock, right? Like that's all you're doing.
It's essentially
like a crawfish bowl is a great name for it, but you were making a stock.
So if you rush that in the beginning, then you were passing up celery flavor, the onion, the garlic, everything in the beginning.
Yep.
So I would also add before that, right, is like the amount of water is pretty critical.
Yeah. You can't put too much because then once you've done the crawfish in, you got this flowing pot, right?
But how many times you've been to a boil are people not really paying attention to, I'm talking like the exact amount of gallons you're putting in the pot, because on a 100-quart pot or 80-quart pot, which is like pretty average for a backyard boil,
right?
It's really easy to add an extra gallon, and not know it,
and not realize it. Yeah,
it's like an inch in height is an extra gallon. So you talk about a gallon of water, that's like going to totally change the recipe.
That's crazy. I didn't even think of it that much.
I feel like they're gonna have some pots coming out soon.
Right. I'll tell you what, I got
some precision pots.
I have a little line. Hopefully you could solve this problem for me. I have a little like dent in my the strainer part of the basket, that like stop it there.
Yeah.
That's the water line.
Right.
Mine's sort of etched into the pot now, into the aluminum.
There you
just
go.
from all the boils. Right. But before that, when I was really trying to get it down, at Home Depot, they sell a little $2 flow meter. Put on the end of your garden hose, and it tells you the amount of gallons.
Really?
Yeah. So, or if you don't have that, you could use a 5-gallon bucket, right?
Right.
Fill up the 5-gallon bucket.
Yeah, that
dump
makes
it
it
in.
easy. Yeah.
So what is your, if you're using that 80-gallon pot, what's your go-to gallon?
Yeah. So for the people out there, the pot that I use is like that standard Academy Outdoor Gourmet 100-quart pot.
Right.
I'm going up. If you have your basket in the pot, it's like the 7th hole in the basket.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So less than halfway.
Okay.
It's going to look like it's not enough,
right?
But you got to account for the displacement of all the stuff you're going to be putting in there.
Right. And that's for roughly like also an additional 35-ish pound sack of crawfish.
I've done that with like the smaller size sacks, 29 pounds, and like the larger one closer to
goes up 40 almost. 40, yeah.
And it should be good.
Right.
But once you get the water right, then it's about starting on our stock. So I always start with the seasoning. That's, you can use what you want.
Right.
That really, it's up to you guys. But then it goes celery, and I kind of overdo on the celery. I go 3 stalks.
Oh wow!
Because I don't think you can overdo that.
Yeah,
it's like
celery. You just like some celery.
Yeah, it just gives a good flavor.
I've done celery salt a few times, and that has a very good flavor to it.
I agree.
Yeah,
celery, garlic. Right. And on the garlic, I just cut the tops off to expose.
Right.
I don't want them all falling apart.
Correct.
I just put them in there like that. And then onions. Right. And then I let that go for like 35 minutes until everything's soft.
Right.
Until you could basically have the garlic mush. Once you can tear the layers of the onions, you're sort of good to keep going.
Right.
And then from there, it's kind of hard to like replay this, right? Because there's like so many.
Right. And we don't need any of your secrets.
No, this is open source, right?
Perfect.
So,
right.
No, this is just through trial and error, like screwing things up royally and like having them be salty and undercooked or overcooked, not peeling it. But yeah, the basics, get the stock down, and then you add in sausage, right?
Right.
I mean, we can go into the details of how, or
lay it on
not,
us.
But I mean, yeah,
go for it.
All right.
Let's go. I like details. I like details.
And look, we're hopefully, hopefully some of our listeners are people who haven't done this before that are looking for it, and
that's kind of how
we got some of the experts. Yeah.
I don't like the word expert, right? Because people.
Well, let's do this. How many boils a year do you do?
So I'll backtrack and I'll say, like, people see the business that we have and they say boil boss, and like, you must boil every weekend. It's like, not really, right? Like I maybe do like 5 boils a year, right? 3, 5, right? Pretty average. Our hobbies, right, are hunting, fishing,
Right.
and crawfish boiling and like Louisiana culture fit in that.
Right.
So knowing how to do a good crawfish boil is important. But to say like this is our thing is not necessarily true. We just like saw a problem.
Well, we can at least say we got someone that's very experienced.
Yeah, and screwing up.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's how you learn. So.
Right. That's how you learn.
Yeah.
So.
Right. But yeah, no. So Miles is new to it too. So we're learning it. But I'll pick back up. Right. So stock.
Right.
All right. That I'm going to emphasize that. Just like take your time on
Correct.
that.
That's the key.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you're boiling the crawfish in, right? So why not make sure that is perfect?
And that's why you don't want to add the ice to cool them.
Correct.
Because then that ruins your stock.
Right.
That you've worked so hard.
Yeah, you just diluted it all.
Yep.
Right.
So you need,
And while the stock's being made, right, what we do, we started squeezing lemons. Like this past weekend, I got like 3 bags of them, cut them up, and just started squeezing, getting all the juice out.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to use that at the end, right?
Just a side note on that.
Yeah.
One of my favorite places I've ever had crawfish, right, is that it was Lucy's in Baton Rouge.
Okay.
And they were on Travel Channel or something like that a few years ago, and they put like almost, I think it was like 3 or 4 gallons of lemon juice.
What?
And it made so much sense to me. But sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but like that's a lot of lemon juice.
I feel like that's where he's going with this.
Right.
Yeah. A lot of people add like a couple lemons, like 12, they like half a dozen in the beginning. But what I think is if you put them in at the very beginning and you're boiling the stock down, you're cooking out the lemon juice.
Okay.
Like you're kind of losing that citrus.
It's evaporating, right?
Makes sense.
Yeah. And so we put it in at the end just because we really want the hit of citrus.
Okay.
We actually, who we actually founded Boil Balls with, we had Taylor Blakeman, who I think you know, Tony.
Yeah, went to high school with him.
Yeah, so that's who got me thinking about the citrus at the end, because what he does is he actually zests all the lemons like 100%.
Wow.
That was lame because that was delegated to me.
Yeah.
So I was sitting there.
They had you.
So he uses the zest in the boil.
Yeah, I'm just over here literally zesting probably what is 2 full bowls of
Oh my
lemon zest.
God.
And I mean, I'm not going to argue whether it's like worth it or not, but well, actually I will.
No,
It's not, it probably isn't worth it. That was a lot of work.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah, that's why we juice them now.
Right.
And you probably got a little bit of like Miles like skin. And
Yeah. He probably vested his hands a little bit.
I got some cuts here and there.
But the oils from that, right? Same thing. At
Right.
the end, it really coats it well.
Yeah.
With that citrus note.
So you're adding the citrus in while it's being cooled down.
Yeah. So
pot?
you get your stock going, right? And then put your crawfish in, and then the crawfish, right? You get it back to a boil.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a tricky thing too, because you don't have to, if you got a crappy burner, right? And you're waiting for it to get to
Take
a boil.
you too long. Yeah.
And some people wait, it's like been 25 minutes. And it's like, it's still not at a boil. Those things are still cooking,
Yeah.
right? Because the water, and that's when the paddle comes in, because you could spot check the water and see
Right.
that it's at, 200 degrees, but water boils at 212.
Right.
Yeah.
So
200 is
they've
still
been
cooking them.
Right.
Right. So you got to know your equipment a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but my burner gets it back to a boil pretty quick. And
Mhm.
so once it's at a boil, I let them go for like 3 to 5 minutes, kind
Right.
of depending on the size. If they're real small, like pinky size crawfish,
Right.
then maybe closer to like 3,
Yeah.
2.5.
A little shorter time.
Is it good to say like once they float, it's kind of done,
Yeah. And that kind of gets to why the boil boss is important, because
Right.
why are they floating?
Right.
All the moisture has been evaporated
Correct.
out
Right.
of the crawfish.
Right.
It's like when you first dump them in the pot, they sink.
Yeah.
And then as the temperature raises, as you get to a boil, you notice they're all just like wanting to overflow from the pot. Yeah. And so that's a good indication of when you're done cooking.
Okay.
Yep.
So when you turn the boil boss on and they start to cool down, now all the crawfish are going to sink again.
Pretty
Once
much.
they start absorbing all the flavors and all the water. Okay.
Yep. And that's when we go ahead and we dump our lemon juice in
During the cooling
Oh,
process.
so you do it in there
right as we're cooling them down. So like
Brilliant.
as they're sucking in all the liquid and seasoning, you hit them with the lemon.
Give them a good stir. Get it all mixed in.
Yeah, that's critical, is like stirring the pot as it's cooling.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Don't
once-
just let it sit.
Yeah. If you don't have a thermometer, that's the rule of thumb, is once they sink,
Right.
go another minute or two once they've sunk.
That's what you're doing once the ring is on and
Yeah.
the water is flowing and cooling the pot down. You're just like constantly stirring, right?
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep it
Some people use frozen corn. So one thing to note if you're using the boil boss, right, is to not put the corn in at the very end, like you normally would.
Right.
Because the corn is cold, it's frozen.
Right.
You're cooling off the pot to 150 in a matter of like 3 minutes.
Right.
Yeah. So the corn's not going to cook.
No, it's not going to cook.
Right.
So like if you're going to cool it down real fast, you're going to add the corn with the crawfish.
Right.
Pretty much.
Okay. And then just enjoy them.
Yeah. Then the soak, right?
Right.
And so that depends on what you like.
Yeah.
You know, we usually go like 25 minutes.
Yeah, that's one of the benefits though, is you don't have to let them soak that long, right? Like if you're doing multiple batches and you usually let them soak for 30, 35 minutes, you can go like 15, 20 minutes.
See, in Ville Platte over there, we take them out and we put them in an ice chest and we re-season them again. And then we let them steam in the ice chest for about 15.
We were close to doing it this past weekend because the what was it frog bone seasoning?
Yeah, frog bone's what we've been using.
It works well, you know, especially if you're doing a lot of batches, because then you can put them in the ice chest and you can start on the second batch right away. It works pretty well, and I like them that way. But I like them always.
There is that community of people that take them out before they let them soak. Totally.
They don't even.
No, right?
No steaming, no soaking, no nothing.
Where are these people from? They've been living under a rock.
Well, when we do some like in the early days of Bull Boss, go to like sportsman shows and all these things, and just try and hustle and get out there.
That's the way to do it.
Right.
I mean, you got to grind to show people what you're doing. And I'm not going to lie, like I didn't enjoy all those things, but it was a necessity. But in doing it, I got to see like how many ways people do this. And the way you described is like that North Louisiana style.
Yeah.
And it's not totally in alignment with the way we do it because they're not soaking them in the pot.
Right.
Their logic is they're doing it in the ice chest, and y'all season the outside.
Yeah, we season the outside.
Y'all toss them. Yeah. So that's a little bit of like this hot.
We get your fingers real spicy.
Yeah.
Guys,
your lips.
First time I think I ever did a crawfish bowl with Jack, we were at the Fly. Remember that?
That's right. Yeah.
And
right after a hurricane force thunderstorm came through.
That was my first time ever having the ice chest way. You know, and I thought it was good. It's definitely a different. I think there's a hot debate on that. Like
it is. Look, Joe and I did a how to crawfish boil segment for Academy Sports through Slap Your Mama.
I saw it. Yeah.
And man, we got so much flack from so many people just because we did it differently than other people, you know. But everybody does it different.
It's like pineapple on your pizza, right? Like you either love it or hate it.
Yeah, it's a big debate.
So Miles and I are being really polite right now. You know?
yeah. I know. I don't do it the way you guys do it. That's okay though.
No, that's part of it, right? Like if
no, I mean, I've never actually tried it that way, so it's kind of like I shouldn't knock it till I try it.
Yeah, I mean, give it a go. Why not?
You got to try it at least once.
I try soaking them too. I do it all kinds of ways. I feel like I got to try all the different ways to do the crawfish,
right?
Or I'm gonna not experience something that I don't want to miss.
Yeah, I'm glad I had them that one way. I will say I do prefer the soak, right? Like I think that's one. I think a little cleaner.
Yeah, I mean, your hands are a lot cleaner.
Your hands are a lot cleaner.
Spicy.
But for some reason, I like that soak.
And how do you do it? Is the way I describe more?
Very similar. Yeah. You know, it's pretty basic. I work on the stock, right? Make sure it is perfect before those go in. I add. I'm also big on orange juice.
I'll add oranges to mine.
Yeah, I do.
Like sliced oranges.
I'll get like
even a grapefruit, maybe.
Right.
Yeah,
I'll get like a gallon of orange juice, put that in along with the lemons and everything else. But I've never added the lemon juice right at the soak, which will happen next boil. I tell you, because it makes sense. You know. I guess I didn't even think of that.
We need a boil soon.
We do. But look, some of the things, you know, I don't know if y'all have any odd things. I know my personal favorite is pineapple. There's something about a pineapple that soaks in there, that salty sweetness.
It absorbs all the flavor.
It's fantastic. A few of the other ones we got on Instagram were edamame.
I've had that before. That's pretty good.
Good.
All right. We had Brussels sprouts, which I've had before.
Yeah.
I don't like Brussels sprouts so much because like I feel in the boil, they just like break apart. So then you just got these leaves everywhere.
Looks like fall.
Right. Artichokes. I've never done artichokes, but I've heard of it a lot.
Yeah, I've had it before. The artichokes. It's good.
Y'all had any artichoke?
I have before. Miles, when we were boiling, was telling me when we were boiling this past weekend.
Oh yeah, so when I was in Georgia doing a boil, and after the crawfish boil, my buddy, I'm pretty sure they took a full chicken and they boiled the chicken.
No way.
Really?
And then they smoke it.
Right.
So this is after the
This is
crawfish.
after this is totally after the crawfish.
So no more crawfish.
No,
going
no
in
more
the pot.
crawfish. Everyone left,
Okay,
and they just pulled
great.
out a
No
chicken.
salmonella.
But yeah, no.
Right.
So they're boiling the chicken in the crawfish boil.
Yeah,
And then they
yeah.
smoke it
and then I
after
think
that?
they put it in the green egg, or they smoked it or something.
That's pretty cool.
yeah.
You know,
Sounds
we
delicious.
do for the
Sounds
holidays, we
I know.
boil our hams in seafood boil,
Really?
kind of like in a crawfish stock, I guess, crawfish boil stock, and then we throw it in the oven after that.
Yeah, we're gonna give that a shot pretty soon.
Yeah, no, we have to try that.
Yeah, I don't see
Yeah.
why not. It's got to
That
be.
chicken sounds
It
phenomenal.
does sound so good.
I have to do that.
Crawfish boil chicken.
Yeah.
This
Crawfish boil smoked chicken.
Nice.
Yeah.
This past weekend at the same boil, we were at Chase Carpenter's house, who is the Sportsman's Paradise Pod.
Okay.
Those guys.
Yeah.
And sadly, the guy, their dad, got the seasoning from, passed away. I think it's Crawfish King.
Okay.
It's a local guy, but he was short on seasoning, right? Like so he's starting fresh.
Right.
And the guy's been using this recipe for like 10, 15 years. And
Oh man.
it's like the first season where he's like square one.
Right.
So just through, I guess, just his work, he had connected with a guy who'd won some of these tournaments,
Storm. Yeah.
and he gave him his recipe. But part of this recipe is putting mustard in.
Really?
Yeah. So we
Like
bought
actual mustard, or
like-
mustard seeds.
like yellow mustard,
Like squirting mustard.
like
Wow.
3 bottles of it.
Wow.
So we watched that go down, and that, so to your point of like the weirdest things you've been seeing.
Did you get to try that?
I did
They're
And-
putting that in the
in the water
when it's soaking
in the beginning.
in the beginning.
Yeah.
And how
it's
was it?
I didn't. If I wouldn't have watched them put
I
the
had no
mustard
We
in,
had no idea.
Mm-mm.
we were trying to think about like what the hell does it do? I
thought it was like-
Yeah,
cuts the
that's-
spice down, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I've had like
Different.
fish.
Yeah, like
battered
fish.
in
I've heard
mustard.
that before. Yeah, but never heard of it.
I was joking. I was
Crawfish
calling him Mustard Man all day.
Yeah.
Did you try the crawfish?
I did. Yeah, they were good.
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
you get like any mustard flavor?
No, that's what I was saying. I think like they cuts like the spice level down, right? Like because that mustard is like a milder.
Right. It's not
Sort of
like
thing.
the
Right.
mustard seed or anything.
So in my opinion, I think they came through saltier because that mustard cut down the spice. But
Wow.
but no, we
That's
don't.
definitely
We
a new
keep it
one.
basic. I've seen green beans.
Yeah, we got a lot of green beans.
I've heard Hawaiian punch or what? No, not Hawaiian punch. Sunny D.
Sunny D.
Sunny D.
Oh, Sunny D. Okay.
that
Yeah.
makes a little
Sorry,
sense.
not Hawaiian
That's
punch.
kind of like an orange juice
Like an- yeah,
almost.
yeah.
Hawaiian punch.
Yeah, I was like,
what?
oh,
You really
yeah.
were throwing me off for that one. I was like, all right, the conversation's done. The Hawaiian punch is the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
Definitely.
Jalapenos, another sort of.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like that should be a
Yeah.
staple. I feel like.
Right. I've never put jalapenos in there.
Neither have I.
Yeah.
What?
One of our sort of business strategies or marketing strategies early on, and still is like reaching out to these little micro YouTubers.
Right.
And one of these guys, give him a shout out, Midnight Cravings, right?
Uh-huh.
He's this guy Justin in Baton Rouge,
Right.
And he puts like whole jalapenos in, like 15, 20 of them, and he'll eat the whole thing,
Oh
like
God, that sounds
seeds and
awful.
everything.
Just all of it.
I eat like 6 of his crawfish,
Yeah.
and I'm burning.
I have not had them, but we're going. I think we're
Saturday.
going Saturday to Baton Rouge to boil with him, and it's going to be his first boil of the season. But now that I know what to expect,
So he's
I'm a
just
little
going to
nervous.
dump a bunch of jalapenos in there and
Yeah, he puts, you gotta, I don't add any extra cayenne.
Mhm.
I usually just like rely on the premix stuff.
right.
Right.
He adds like a half a jar of like
Wow.
the straight cayenne.
This guy just likes the fire.
likes it. Yeah, I like spicy
His
food.
toilet doesn't.
So normally, like my spiciest one is the last one or the last round of the day, right?
Correct.
For
Yeah.
boiling. So I do
I
3
feel-
batches. The third one's going to be pretty spicy.
Right. I feel like, you and I have boiled enough together. I feel like after each sack, we always add like
Yo, I feel
one
like we
more
got to add some
packet
more.
of something.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
Um,
natural progression, right?
yeah.
Like as you add more and stuff.
It can always be spicier.
Right. But I feel like that third one is also fantastic.
Yeah, I like it the spiciest.
Well, you got all
so-
the fat from the crawfish.
Right.
Like, every batch, like all that.
Right.
What's that yellow? Like, I guess that's the fat
Yeah,
in
that's
the
fat.
head,
It's
the
right?
fat. Yep.
Yep.
All that. You can see like the little bubbles of it in the water.
Yeah.
That's all the goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what else do we get? We got cauliflower too. Never heard of cauliflower.
I never put
in it.
cauliflower in mine.
But
No.
I love cauliflower. So I would imagine that's pretty fantastic.
What about broccoli? People put broccoli in there too.
I've never
That's
heard
where my
broccoli.
mind went.
I got
Yeah,
another-
I don't
Yeah.
know.
I got another weird one.
That's got to be kind of stinky. I feel like.
One
Yeah,
of my
maybe
sister's
broccoli.
friends, they did pasta. So bow tie pasta in a bag. And then
Wow.
they did crawfish Monica after with it.
Oh man,
I
that is
feel like
pretty
a
smart.
terrible chef between
Right?
the chicken and the pasta. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
That's pretty smart. So it's like a netted bag or something.
Yeah, and sometimes people use
Oil
the
bag.
Yeah,
bag
people use the bags a lot for
vegetables.
veggies,
Mhm.
sausage. I know when my dad does it, he is very, I guess, OCD for the display after. Like he's thinking
Yeah.
the display after, right? And we got the pirog with the crawfish.
He wants
and-
it perfect.
Yeah.
right. And then like, so he has each bag, you know, the corn, the sausage, the garlic, everything is separate.
Mhm.
That way we can kind of display it. But it's fantastic. But fuck, I'm gonna use that
That's
next
so
bag
yeah.
for pasta.
That's so intelligent.
next
That's so
time.
I
awesome.
know. It's just tough in the heat of it when you're like trying to get the crawfish out to remember to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
You got to have somebody like that's their mission
Yeah,
for the
absolutely.
A little
You got the-
checklist.
day. Yeah. Pasta.
Pasta.
That is definitely going
bow
on the
tie
next one.
pasta. Make a note.
Yeah, I'm writing that down. I need bow tie pasta in it.
We need to make a boil soon. Like, need to do something soon.
So
We should do one. We should do
Yeah,
one.
I'm
we
down.
should. I think we
get
should do
together.
maybe a little boot crew crawfish bowl. That'd be soon.
That'd be a lot of
Something
fun.
It would be. We got this perfect house on magazine. Why are we not doing it here? You know?
This is awesome.
All right.
Yeah, let's do it. Since we don't have St. Patrick's Day, you know,
Right.
The parade or anything, we can maybe do a boil.
It's terrible.
Anyway,
We need
I mean-
St. Patrick's Day. So
I need St. Patrick's Day.
right, we do. But you know, there are some times when
Yeah, when you don't have the time
you
to
can't do the boil.
when you don't have time to boil, you know, the best when you get the envie for some crawfish, the next best thing is to
Yeah, you gotta
find
find
a spot
somewhere.
in the city that you can go to. So
Guys, do y'all have any like spots you go to? Say just, you know, if it's a Tuesday or something or a Friday or something, you just need some crawfish anywhere?
We grew up uptown, and where my dad would pick up from was Big Fisherman, or is it Little
Okay.
Fisherman?
Oh, it was Big
Oh,
Fisherman.
that's
Big
yeah,
Fisherman.
right there.
That's
I
like
just
a block
It's on
away,
magazine.
right?
Yeah, it's right down
Yeah.
the street.
I just had Big
confusing.
Fisherman last week.
Okay.
Yeah, it was good stuff. Good spice.
That was my dad's favorite. Since I haven't had theirs in a while, but we become friends with Ray over at Captain Sid's
Okay.
in Bucktown.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're on my list, you know, Captain Sid's and Schaefer's, which are
Yeah.
right there. Those are both fairly good and good price too.
Yeah.
And I love, this is like a classic, like crawfish thing. I love that they're the only two restaurants, Schaefer's and Captain Sid's. And maybe there are more that I just don't know of. But if you pay in cash, you get a discount.
Really?
I
That's
love
nice.
that.
Yeah,
Captain
that's awesome.
Sid's and Schaefer's, who are right next to each other, it's $5 if you're paying with a card, and it's $4.75 if you're paying for cash. And it's only 25 cents a pound, but like
Adds
that's
up.
brilliant. You know,
Yeah.
like give it cash, we got it for you cheaper.
Nice.
You know?
You
Like,
start ordering 10 pounds a person. That's
Right.
Those 25 cents add up, I guess.
correct. Yeah, it's brilliant. And then my go-to is the galley on Metairie Road.
See, I haven't been there yet. I need to go.
They may be
I've
my
had it, yeah.
my favorite crawfish in the city that is
Really?
like restaurant crawfish.
Not
I haven't
bad.
had them. Had their soft shell crab, but
Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, Jazz Fest maybe,
Yeah.
or just went in.
and going in.
Yeah, but
See,
they're
We'll go.
fantastic. A little pricey.
A little pricey, but
that's
worth it, yeah.
Metairie Road, you know. But it is they're very good.
See, I always find myself on the weekend, I'll be running around in the Garden District and I end up at Tracy's.
Oh
And they
yeah.
have, I think Friday through Saturday is the only time that they do crawfish boils, but it's a Select Crawfish company, I think is the
Okay.
name that does it. And they do a good job, man.
Really?
Nice, spicy. And then you got Tracy's. You can eat them at Tracy's,
Love that.
watch some sports, drink some beer, have a little crawfish.
I feel like I was at Tracy's like a year ago this week when the world ended.
Yeah, you got in trouble going there too.
Right.
Oh, that's
I
right.
did. I may have been in that picture that was on NOLA.com.
You were a
I
super
think-
spreader.
Oh, man.
Um,
Oh, man.
but yeah,
missed
you
that.
know, Shavers is good. Captain Sid's is good. The Galley's good. Then there's Clessy's on.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
on-
Clessy's is pretty good.
Clessy's.
Yeah, on Bienville. They are shockingly, because I thought the Galley would take this crown, but they're shockingly the most expensive that I know of. They're $9 a pound
Wow.
What?
Right now?
right now.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah, that's
that's
pricey.
high as giraffe nuts.
I'm wanting back at your cap price, $1.97 a pound.
Yeah, right. You're like, I am wearing. I think this is maybe Dirty Coast or one of those hats that
Yeah, Dirty Coast. I
made
think it is.
crawfish $1.97 again.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's a campaign I can get behind right there.
Yeah, for sure. I think you can win mayor if you get that price back.
Right.
I used to kind of like critique the prices of the crawfish pretty
Uh-huh.
hard from these guys, but then I tried to correlate it to myself. Like if I'm doing a boil this
Right,
weekend,
Right.
if you're like amortize out your costs per pound,
Correct.
there's no way that I could sell those let's just say for like $7 a pound and make
Yeah.
a profit to.
Yeah, you got to think of
Yeah.
the labor,
Yeah,
the
it's
cost of goods. I mean, there's a lot
Yeah.
goes into it.
A lot of time. It takes a lot.
And
That's
you
what
go to the scale of the operation, right?
Right.
Like how many people, you know, do they have economies of scale on their ingredients and all
Right.
that other
And
good
you know, the
stuff.
weird part about it, just me being a chef, and when I was a chef over at Bayou Oaks, the golf course, we would do crawfish, and it's also tricky because, like in a restaurant, right? Like you can make it when someone orders a dish, you make the dish and it's gone. Crawfish, like you got to commit to selling 40 pounds.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's it. Like, so if you boil one sack too many, you have 40 pounds that you put work into, seasoning into, vegetables into, and the cost of the actual crawfish, and you may not even sell them.
Well, that's why you got to peel them and then save those tails for étouffée or something.
Then that's even adding more labor into that sack, because now that sack, you had to cut it, peel it, you had to do everything. So it's tricky. So I don't like to complain too much on the price, because it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, yeah. And there's a potential for a lot of waste.
Correct. Yeah.
If the whole city's at $5,
Right.
then somebody's around $9. It's like, all right, what's going on?
Correct. Right.
Yeah.
You look at the galley's at $8, $7.99, but I go twice a week.
They better are they like some super select crawfish, like the big, like
and that's
really
what the
big
galley
ones?
is. I can say that. Their crawfish are never small.
Right.
They are never hard to peel. They're always perfectly cooked, in my opinion. They always taste good. So I'll sacrifice the $7.99 a pound,
man,
and just crush them.
I'm gonna have to go out there this weekend.
You got to. Ask for Miss Vicky. She's like the greatest.
Yeah, Miss Vicky.
Yeah,
So, for sure.
That's an old Metairie place.
It is.
That's
yeah.
not in our, it's a little bit of a trek for us.
I know. I'm an old Metairie boy.
I'm going to make it out there now.
I'm supposed to go out there tonight with some buddies. So
Look, I'll make a trek anywhere for crawfish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would.
I feel like you're the biggest foodie in the room, right?
I don't know, maybe.
I feel like I'm tired. I deleted my Instagram during tuna. I'm busy with work and boil ball stuff, and
Right.
Hey, that's pretty good of you.
Lump season in
Right.
Venice. People catching 200-pound yellowfin. Like, we should be there right now.
So if you're seeing that, you're like
If
leaving
I'm
work.
Seeing that, I'm getting FOMO. I'm like trying to get the boat down, and it's like, so I just took it off my phone. But when I had it on my phone, I'd see all of Jack's pictures, just like all these restaurants never heard of.
Jack gets around.
Yeah, I do get
some
around.
good spots. Yeah.
I try to taste everything, so it's worth it.
Well, guys, we really appreciate y'all being here today.
Thank y'all for coming on and sharing y'all's experience with us and how y'all boil the crawfish. We got to try the lemon juice.
Yeah,
and the pasta.
Absolutely. Yeah. And check out, check them out on Instagram. I think it's at Boil Boss, maybe.
Yeah,
it's at the Boil Boss.
Yeah.
Okay.
The dude who owns Boil Boss won't give us the domain.
Yeah. So. How can they get in touch with you guys?
Yeah.
Just
website.
I'd say the best way is the website.
Okay.
Probably. Yeah.
Perfect.
We're on all the social things.
It's easy to find us on social media. All of our platforms are at the Boil Boss. The Boil Boss, but the website is theboilboss.com.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, it's easy.
Sweet. Yeah. And we're going to do a giveaway later this week. So check our Instagram at Tchoup NOLA. And we appreciate y'all listening. Y'all have a good day.
Yeah, y'all have a good day and keep eating.